I want you guys to be aware of how abundant food is everywhere. No matter if you live in a city or you live in a more rural area like I live, there are plants to eat regardless of your location. There's medicine to use regardless of your location. It's just a matter of finding the right area for it to grow in. And along this roadside that I live near, there's a huge, huge patch of wild grape. And these were once domesticated grapes because they have only 2 seeds, 1 to 2 seeds. They're very sweet and not as gelatinous, so they're not as high in pectin as wild grapes. But still, they're more feral than a lot of the ones that are planted in houses now. They're really hybridized. This is probably like a 100-year-old plant. And I wanted to show you guys how to identify them, how to eat them, and how to make use of them in general. So, here we go. So just along this rock wall, there are thousands of grapes that are ripe right now. This is September 15th, and these are just coming into their picking season. And again, these are partially feral. At one point they were planted, I'm sure, and they escaped from wherever they were planted and were spread by birds or other animals eating them and then defecating, and then they grew along this rock wall. And I'll show you an example of how they look. So they're pretty large ones. If you were to find Concord or Muscadine grapes, they're definitely smaller than this. So the way you can tell that they're hybridized, oftentimes they have fewer seeds. They're a little more watery tasting, and they're definitely a lot more sweet. Concord grapes are a little more pungent and have more of a tannic or drying effect on your mouth. And grapes only have one look-alike in Massachusetts, and it's the Canadian moonseed, and it's pretty hard to confuse the two. Canadian moonseed does not have these tendrils. All grapes have tendrils, these little curly pieces that are used to grasp onto trees or to rock walls, wherever they're growing, and provide support for the plant. Moonseeds do not have tendrils. They have a leaf shape very similar to grape leaves, but this is the iconic grape leaf, but there's thousands of variations of this leaf. So the leaf isn't always the best identifying characteristic. So look for the tendrils. And then when you were to bite into one of these, moonseeds have a bitter, almost a tannic taste, but in a very different way than a grape. And grapes have this kind of slightly bitter, strong tasting outer skin, and has this very gelatinous inner portion. And this particular grape only has 1 seed inside of it. I'll try to get it out for you. And the seed looks like that. Canadian moonseeds have a crescent moon-shaped seed and has 2 to 3 seeds on the inside. So again, grapes have tendrils. They grow up trees along rock walls, typically in pine forests or along the edge of roads. And they always have between 2 and even up to 5 of these oval-shaped seeds, not crescent seeds, inside of them. And wild grapes have higher levels of resveratrol, they have higher levels of antioxidants, they have far more pectin inside of them, so they make better jams and jellies. Excuse that car. And a general rule for wild foods is they have up to 10 times as many nutrients as their hybridized and domesticated counterparts. So including any wild food into your diet is a way to improve your well-being nutritionally and cognitively, just because it gives you a bit of food independence. Hope this inspired you to check for grapes in your area, and they're definitely ready right now if you're in the New England area. And there are plenty this year, despite the drought.